ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is my review for The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 14. And this actually brings me up to date because it is April 4th, and the next episode comes out tomorrow. So, look at the flowers. Now, if you've seen and paid attention to The Walking Dead, look at the flowers is a pretty gruesome phrase. It's an emotional impact that Carol had to deal with way back. And so by the title, I was expecting big things. Did they deliver? Let's get into it. Negan's back in jail with Carol. This is a flashback scene where Carol goes to Negan while he's in jail, and she releases him so that he can go kill Alpha. And then, kind of get his name restored with the people at Alexandria. From there, you come to present day where Carol spikes Alpha's head. It was just given to her by Negan on a pike right there facing the Whisperers. And kind of reneges on her deal with Negan because she decides to just go off by herself and not really restore Negan's name and tell everybody what he did. Jerry and Ezekiel talk about Ezekiel's failings, and Jerry's saying that, we need the guy who brought the kingdoms together. Ezekiel kind of being a bit too hard on himself. Magnus then shows up. Eugene tells Hilltop about Stephanie and the possibility of another community. So the remaining people are from Hilltop. They're kind of in this cabin. And Eugene tells the story of, this person he's been talking to that says there's another entire community out there. So then Magna and Yumiko are talking. And initially, Yumiko is telling Magna, this is kind of your style. You like adventure. You like excitement. And then Magna actually kind of changes the script and is like, you know what? I kind of feel like I'm setting roots here. And I like these people. And so she actually winds up sending Yumiko to go off with Eugene. Ezekiel then tells Jerry, about his situation with the cancer and stuff, and that he's going to go with Eugene as well. And so Jerry's, afraid this might be the last time he sees Ezekiel. Then you have Beta and two other Whisperers find Alpha. Alpha's head anyway. And one of the Whisperers tells Beta, you're the Alpha now. You're the one in charge. Beta kind of takes offense to that. He feels like no one else can be Alpha. And so he takes Whisperer, has him take his mask off, and then pushes his head into Alpha's, animated head, which bites the dude on the cheek. Then Negan goes to find Carol in her cabin. Instead, he finds Daryl in the cabin. Daryl punches him. Negan tries to explain what he's been doing, going covert for Carol to kill Alpha. Decides, the only way Daryl's really going to believe him is to go to the spike and, show him the head, which unfortunately Beta has now taken. So with that, Carol's walking around in the woods, and Alpha, or like this imagined, Alpha is there to just like torment her, just to tear her down. And it's like showing like Carol's weak will. From there, you see Beta go into a house. He's got Alpha's head, and he just kind of loses his shit. Like, you just see he's like really angry about everything. Then Alpha, still kind of tormenting Carol, brings up Sophia and reminds her of like all her imagined failings. So then you get Eugene, Ezekiel, and Yumiko on their travels come across walkers in cages. Ezekiel kind of comes to a point where he has to fight off a few walkers, and you can see that he's really bad. His health is not the greatest. The other two call out. He has to catch his wind. It's like, I'm coming. Negan takes Daryl to find Alpha's head. Of course, it's not there. Alpha continues to torture Carol, the imagined Alpha that Carol's seeing. And Carol winds up getting trapped running from walkers. So back to Negan and Daryl. They come across some whisperers. There's 3 of them. One of them has a shotgun. And by law of the whisperers, if you kill the Alpha, you become the Alpha. And so these whisperers kneel down to Negan. And of course, tensions were really, really high there with Daryl and Negan. Daryl just kind of at the point of wanting to kill Negan. And so Negan, he gets that sly, smirky smile. So, of course, Negan, he gets that sly, smirky smile that he gets. And he's like, tie up Daryl. So they tie up Daryl. And he's like, why do you get to have the shotgun? I'm the Alpha. You're not the Alpha. So I should have the shotgun, right? So Negan, he takes a shotgun. He gives this little speech about how he used to enjoy being Negan. And then the emphasis is obviously used to shoots one of the whisperers in the head with a shotgun. Negan and Daryl take out the other 2 whisperers. And so you can kind of see that Negan is kind of being a genuine guy about all this. In this house that Beta went to, he goes upstairs in this like balcony area, and he's trying to attract a bunch of walkers with the noise. And he like tears half of his face mask off. And I don't know the significance of that, but you just see him gathering a whole shitload of walkers. Ezekiel runs into a fallen horse. The horse that he was on like falls, and apparently it's just done, it's dying. And Ezekiel's pretty upset about that. Yumiko comes over to Ezekiel. Ezekiel's just kind of wanting to stay there, and he's like, I'm just going to be a burden on you two. And Yumiko needs him to keep moving. She says, no one knows the future, and we need the guy who built a kingdom. And so I thought that was a really cool moment between Yumiko and Ezekiel. A trapped Carol, still tortured by Alpha. A walker comes along, and he's kind of breaking through this hole and almost able to get at Carol. And so the walker is kind of struggling. And Alpha, the imagined Alpha, is telling Carol, just look at the flowers. And if you know anything about that, that was when Carol had to shoot Sophia, this little girl who killed her sister because she had lost her mind. And so she just, told her to look at the flowers and then shot her. And so you kind of like wonder if Carol's giving up at this point, if she's just going to let it go and die. That doesn't happen. Carol fights free, stabs the walker. So they kind of teased Carol's actual death in the comics, which was actually way back in the prison. She just killed herself. They've done a lot more with Carol in the series than they have in the comics. So Eugene's group after that comes to a city. And you see it looks like Pittsburgh. And then after that, you have Negan and Daryl talk. Negan and Daryl, Daryl's fighting the fact that maybe Negan actually is a different person now. And Negan, kind of being his charming self, is actually getting to Daryl. And he's like, maybe it's just my charming personality. And then Daryl just walks away because he doesn't want to admit that maybe Negan's totally changed. Then after he walks away from Negan, he opens the gate for Carol, who just walks in, doesn't say anything, and keeps going. Eugene's crew enters a city where walkers are placed like people, living, doing daily activities, but they're tied up or chained up so they can't actually attack. And they're positioned to create scenes. And this makes Ezekiel just laugh his ass off. So they kind of walk through the city and they come across this woman who is very eccentric, bright clothes, bright hair, got a machine gun on her, and so it's pretty cool, man. It's a character that calls herself Princess in the comics. I'm sure they'll open up more about that next week. But Beta thanks Alpha, stabs her in the head, says he understands now, and with this horde that he has gathered, starts walking. And in the comics, after Alpha dies, Beta really becomes the antagonist. He becomes the head honcho for the Whisperers that brings a lot of pain in the ass moments for Hilltop and that crew. And so it looks like that's what they're going to do. Now you have Beta, this big, massive guy, who is now pissed off and leading a horde to fight. So that I did like. There were actually a few things I liked here. Introduction of a new character is always cool, and she's a pretty peppy character, so that should be interesting. You have Beta taking the lead now. You have Daryl and Negan, and that relationship definitely changing. So I like a lot of the things they did with this episode. So I'm actually going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, I think. It was really fun for me. Had some great moments. So yeah, man, very entertaining. That's where I'm at with it. Besides the Denai Guerrera episode, they've definitely had the last few episodes a bit more entertaining and a bit more back to form. So hopefully it stays that way. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my review for The Walking Dead 10, I believe this is 13. Yeah, 10-14. Getting behind on myself. So yeah, absolutely thought it was great. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out.